How's it going?
It's going good.
All right, Hal. You're a guest on the show. You've been here before.
Indeed.
Why don't you tell some of the new people a little bit about yourself? Just a quick intro.
Well, I'm a copywriter by trade. Worked at a couple of different agencies around Texas, advertising agencies, and now I've also worked on the corporate side. So I've seen a little bit of both worlds and everything from print to online and reputation management and public relations and really the whole gamut.
Great. Now, I know you Twitter a lot.
That's true. I do the tweets.
You do the tweets. I see you got a few followers.
A few.
And I remember when you first started tweeting, well, actually, we had a discussion a long time ago, and you said, Twitter, what's the use of Twitter? I don't Twitter. And I was telling you, what a great tool Twitter is.
Yeah.
And you didn't believe me.
I didn't believe you initially. That's because I live by skepticism first. I wasn't prepared to go at it until I found a use for it, but I found a use for it, and it's actually served me pretty well.
And your first Twitter handle on there, what was it?
My first Twitter handle was Copydemic, which was obviously a combination of the word copy and the word epidemic. It was a little gimmicky, I have to admit, but I was trying to be clever, perhaps a little too hard. But yeah, limited success with that name.
Yeah, and it seems like I made a suggestion to you to switch your Twitter handle to your real name.
Indeed, you did.
And it seems like it's had a positive effect.
It certainly has. I'm glad to say that I've gotten followers on an easier basis using my name as a Twitter handle. It certainly made me easier to find online. It's helped make my image more cohesive by being identified by that name everywhere. And at least for me personally, not being someone on the order of copy blogger or copy hack or something like that, it seems to help build the trust of being a real person. And in fact, another suggestion you made to trade out the sort of logo-esque picture for an actual photo of my face.
That's right.
Actually also did a lot to help that out. I hate to say it, but you were right. It seems to help people. It seems to help people connect and consider you're more of a real person, and that seems to make them trust you more.
Right, I think so. With Facebook, and again with Twitter, a lot of people using their real names or their real names for a Twitter handle. Seems like the web's going more towards a personal, a personal connection with people,
Certainly.
other than these faceless. When the web first started out, you had all these faceless, people without profile pictures, with some kind of crazy name, like Stalker for You or something like that.
Yeah, certainly the personal aspect seems to be coming out more and more online, and people overall, I think, as social media evolves, are rejecting a lot of the slick corporate stuff. So even if you are a corporate entity, just looking more like a Joe that walks down the street seems to get people's trust. So
Hal, you mentioned a little while ago about how the tables have turned, and now it's strange to see, like a Twitter account without a real name on there, whereas it used to be reverse. It used to be everybody had sort of a fake name, and now we're going towards a real name.
Right. When it first started out, I think there was still a lot of the attitude of a more traditional marketing approach, that push marketing. I am a brand. I'm going to say exactly what I want to look at and sound like, and a really controlled, for the lack of a better word, slick message and image. I think as people continue to become more resistant and look for more genuine feedback, less formulated responses from real individuals, as opposed to hearing the carefully crafted marketing messages of large companies that are obviously looking to sell them something. I think that's influenced a lot of the shift to that model. Certainly big companies don't need to misrepresent themselves as individuals. Big companies can still like big companies because that's what they are. But I think people assume that if you do use that sort of logo graphical approach as opposed to the personal approach we've been talking about,
right.
You can actually get lumped into that, and people have an inherent distrust of that sort of slickness.
And I think it brings a lot of courtesy back to the web when you have your real name, real Twitter handle. I think people think twice before they spout out some hatred and a lot of the things that are making the web kind of a not so good place. I mean, you look at the YouTube comments. If you see a YouTube video, I mean, just horrific comments on there, and the people, everybody's faceless on there. With some crazy handle, you know what I mean? And all they're doing is just disrespecting people.
Certainly there will always be a place for the crazies and the nutty hatred and people
So YouTube has become the haven for crazies.
Well, I think there are always going to be people who are going to be okay being identified like that, but I think you do raise a good point that anonymity fuels that. I think they've done... I'm not going to say they've done studies. I think they have that have shown that the more anonymity someone has, the crazier it gets. When you get to take the face away and put a handle on it, people get crazier to one point. And when you don't even have to have a consistent handle, you get to have a one-time handle to put a comment on something, people just get outright crass and hateful.
Right. And going back to the real Twitter handle thing, originally I had my Twitter handle is KMO78, just kind of a random Twitter handle, and then I changed my name because I read somewhere about, thinking, it might have been a good idea to have your full name in there, because really when you think about it, I mean, your name is your brand,
right? When
it comes down to it. So I mean, I kind of found the same things that you found. You got increased, follower count. People respond to you more because you're a real person. They see your picture. Obviously, if they link out, they're going to see a blog or your website, and obviously gives you a lot more credibility. So I think a lot of people, when they see somebody following them or replying to them, they're going to check out who this person is.
Right.
And I think, if you want them to respond back to you and you have your real name and, they can verify who you are, I think the chances of you getting a response from somebody who is what they call an influencer, even though I despise that term, but that's the term that's out there now.
Right.
I mean, I think your chances are greater.
Well, certainly, I think having yourself out there sort of adds to the credibility. I think people look at the faceless, nameless thing and can assume a certain amount of lack of confidence, or that you're somehow hiding because you don't want to be seen. You're sort of in the shadows and anonymous, and if you say anything on there, it won't come back on you.
Right.
But to be able to see you, to know who you are, says, I'm not afraid of what people think about what I'm saying. I own it. That certainly gives a certain amount of credibility. And I also think being able to cross-reference you across the web. If I go and find Ken Mariko online right now, then I know I can search for him, and he's going to show up in all these different places across the web. I can find him on LinkedIn, and I can find him on Facebook or whatever other channels are available.
Yeah. I think people don't realize how easily Twitter can be sort of hacked and manipulated.
Right.
As far as Twitter accounts, I mean, I can, obviously I've done some programming with Twitter before, and clearly, someone can easily write an algorithm that gets a lot of followers fairly quickly. Although there are some sort of stops that Twitter puts in place.
Right.
For instance, you can't have more than like 2,000. People, or you can't follow more than 2,000 people above wherever you're at.
As far as your own followers.
Right, as far as your own followers, or people that you're following. So in other words, if I'm following 2,000 people, I can't get to 5,000 people unless some of them follow me back.
Right.
So you just can't follow an endless number of people.
Yeah.
But you can certainly write an algorithm that, over time collects followers. And then you can unsubscribe or unfollow certain people. And so things can be manipulated that way.
And I think also the personalization of it can help, because there are tools out there, as I'm sure you know, that will auto follow people, and you can select thresholds and how many people I follow a day and unfollow if they don't follow me in a week, and do it by keywords and things. So I think it makes it easier when you're actually looking through at the people that follow you, if you actually care who you're following back. If you cared about the quality of that, I think being able to see and research a person help out a lot.
Yeah, and I think too, a lot of people forget about, credibility on Twitter. You see a lot of people that have, 4,000 or 5,000 followers, but they're following 4,000 or 5,000 people.
Yeah.
I think if you want to establish any kind of credibility, you want to have more followers, if you can do that. But not everybody can do that. I mean,
Right.
certainly I don't have that. I don't think you do either.
No. I'm not ashamed to say that I've got a small but extremely tailored set of followers and people that I follow. I don't just follow anybody who follows me, and I don't follow anybody I can find online.
Right.
I'm following people for very specific reasons that fall into a very specific category, and I think that's the social media equivalent of niche publishing. You don't have to be everything to everybody. As long as you can own your niche, that can be a very powerful tool.
So Hal, do you have any advice for people out there? You using Twitter, and I know you do some of it for work. Obviously, you're active with your personal account.
Right.
Do you have any tips or anything that you want to share for people getting into Twitter?
Yeah. Obviously, the one we talked about a lot at the beginning of this was, unless you have some sort of incredible super brand already built, like a copy blogger or a Swiss Miss from the design world, go ahead and belly up to the table and use your real name. Use a picture of yourself, because that's going to do a lot more for you than some sort of carefully crafted brand type image, and all the aspects we've talked about. Also, as trite as it sounds, be genuine. I mean, unless you're a complete dick and just have no social skills,
Right.
then you should not be yourself, because that would be bad. But be a little bit genuine, be just a tiny bit vulnerable, express an opinion or two, because those are the sorts of things that make you seem like a real person, and the kind of people want to follow real people. If all you do is put headline news up all the time, they're going to treat you like a news bot.
That's right. Yeah, it's important to mix it up, sort of with some personal comments and some retweets and
Right.
just stuff that you find. Also makes you look a little more human, a little more personal.
Yeah, so if you are doing it on a more professional level like I am, don't be afraid to throw in something occasionally in there about, this movie was great, or I am drenched from the rain. You don't have to, don't go to the crazy extent of, I am eating a sandwich, I am eating some fries. That some people can do, tweeting every aspect of their life, but give people a little flavor that lets them know you're a real human being.
That's it too, and plus I think it shows your personality too. I mean, I think people will be able to relate to you better.
Definitely.
When they see sort of your personal interests and the things that make you laugh, and things that you want to share.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're looking at it from a business perspective, trying to use it to warm up people for an eventual job lead or an eventual business lead, having that connection already established with that personalization will help warm that lead up considerably, because if you're following each other back and forth on Twitter for 3 months, 6 months before you ever try to make some sort of a sale or a play or anything like that, that lead is already going to be ready for you. They're going to feel like they know you before you even make the pitch, and that is worth its weight in gold.
And I've heard of people using Twitter to sort of like cold call, but within Twitter. In other words, look for work.
Yeah.
Because you can set up these searches through Twitter.
Right.
Hey, someone's looking for a copywriter, somebody's looking for a web designer, whatever.
Oh, for sure.
And you find them, and you can just reach out to people.
One of the really useful things about some of the apps available online, not online, but just some of the apps available to use alongside Twitter, that they allow you to create columns or items like that let you do certain searches. So you can be alerted when, for me, for example, Houston copywriter comes up in a tweet, that'll show up. So I'll be aware of it.
Right.
If it's something I want to look into, I already know about it. I don't have to go scanning the entire internet. It brings things to me.
Great. So how can people reach you, Hal? I mean, obviously you're on Twitter. Do you want to give out your Twitter handle?
Yeah, sure. If you want to find me, I'm at Hal Werner. That's HALWERNER. There's no A in Werner, I promise. I'm not
Yeah.
like the Warner Brothers. I get that a lot. But once again, that's at Hal Werner, and it's HALWERNER.
And I've heard you got a website too, right?
It's true. Going back to what we were saying about the consistent brand, that's www.halwerner.com. Same spelling.
Wow. Sounds like you got everything worked out, man.
Indeed.
You're a fountain of knowledge.
In fact, you can just Google Hal Werner and you'll find me all over the place.
Wow. All right, man. Thank you very much. Thanks for stopping by the studio.
Anytime.